Hello, welcome into the W&K page. I am George Herbig, Chief Forecaster here with you with Weather Now Kentucky, and we do have some stuff to talk about here, as I'm sure you guys know. Of course, I want to give it a few minutes before we go into everything. Just let you know off the rip, we're talking about storm chances on Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, as well as a brief wintry chance Wednesday night going into Thursday, so a loaded update video for you tonight. I wasn't going to go live. We were just going to do a written post, and I'll still do that as well, but this is a kind of complexity system that we want to make sure we're breaking down really well for everyone. So, of course, as you're coming in, make sure you're saying hello both on YouTube and on Facebook so I can make sure I greet you guys. As always, thank you to everyone that does tap the share button at the bottom portion of your screen there, especially on a system like this where things could really be impacted, especially on Tuesday. We want to make sure folks are getting the newest information as possible. So if you wouldn't mind, please help us by sharing the video down to the bottom portion of your screen there. I would appreciate that. I think I need to refresh my YouTube. There we go. My YouTube was frozen there for a second. There we go. Again, we'll give it about 2 minutes before we go into everything. I want to make sure everyone has time to get on in here and settled in. Again, thank you to everyone tuning in. I am Chief Forecaster George Herbig with W&K. We do have a few storm chances to talk about Sunday through Tuesday. Could be quite a long 36 to 48 hours for some folks, and we'll break that down for you. There are some small storms going on right now. We'll break that down as well. I don't really expect a whole lot to happen tonight, but there are some small storms out there causing a few issues, and we'll talk about that as well. Let me refresh my stuff there. Perfect. There we go. Melissa, hello over there on Facebook. How are you doing? Free hello, honey. Okay. We'll give it probably about 30 more seconds, and then I'd like to try to start at the top of the hour here. So we'll give it about 30 more seconds, and then we'll start going into the information. Of course, as you're coming in, thank you to everyone that's hitting the share button. I see the share starting to go up on Facebook. Thank you so much for that. Hello to everyone on YouTube as well. It was a beautiful day. It's a beautiful day out here. But we know that at this time of year, usually when beautiful weather arrives, it usually means something is going to happen as a result on the backside. And that's absolutely going to be the case here. So we'll get to rolling on that information here soon. Hello, Deborah, how are you? Angie, hello. Jeremy, hello, my friend. Listen, don't need to worry. We'll get you that accurate information for you. Fred, hello. I'm going to try to get a lot of it tonight if I can. Hello from Central Kentucky, from McCosby on YouTube. Hello, how are you doing? All right. Well, the numbers are still going up quite a bit, so I want to give it a few more seconds. Usually when I still see the viewership going up, I want to give it a minute or so. Just want to make sure everyone gets the information that wants it here. We will make a written post as well, so if you do have to tune out, don't worry. We'll have written post on the page at some point tonight. Still trying to break down all my notes and whatnot from earlier. Perfect. Okay. I think we're good to get started here. I think we're good to get rolling here. So let's go ahead and pull up the main screen here. What I want to show you real quickly is just a few storms ongoing at this time. They're going to be diving in from southern Indiana. They're actually already into Kentucky over here, the northern portions. I believe this one near Madison, going toward Carrollton, Kentucky, is special weather statement warned, which is basically the lowest level of warning that you can get. I don't think it's technically a warning. I think it's an advisory of some sort. I'm not really sure. I never understood the special weather statement, but nonetheless, not really expecting any big severe weather tonight. However, a few of these cells could drop some small hail and some gusty winds at times, but I'm pretty sure we've all become accustomed to the gusty winds. I feel like it's been like that for the last 2 or 3 weeks around Kentucky, if not longer. So the gusty wind is nothing new to anybody, but a few of these cells could drop some small hail. These should stay mainly north of I-64, so basically north of this line here. And again, we're not really expecting anything big from this round of storms tonight. Again, this is just one of many that we're going to break down, but again, not really expecting a whole lot here. Maybe some small hail at the most. Most of the action will stay out of Kentucky, as you can see, more toward the northeastern friends out there. Let's go ahead and get that person banned. Perfect. Awesome. All right. So that's the current radar there. Nothing too crazy. It was a beautiful day outside. Hopefully you guys got a lot of your yard work and stuff done today, because it's about to get really, really weird around here. So this is the outlook for today. As you can see, literally the lowest of low risk for today. Not really expecting a whole lot there. And I'm going to go break down model data and all of our notes and stuff as well. I don't have any forecast images ready for you, but I will break it down for you. We'll get those forecast images made. So this is today. Nothing really crazy out there. And by the way, these are the Storm Prediction Center's maps. These are not ours. These are the National Weather Service's Storm Prediction Center that I'm showing you. So this is for Sunday. Northeastern portions of Kentucky under a level 1 out of 5 risk. We're not really seeing a whole lot for Sunday at this time. The only exception being that, and I'll show you this on the model data, there might be one supercell that enters very, very northern Kentucky. We're talking about Florence, Covington, very, very, very northern Kentucky. I'll show you that here on model data here in just a second. And then for Monday, things start to tick up a little bit. And I think the Storm Prediction Center is going to change a few of these maps, and I'll show you why. Let me move my notes real quick. My papers and notes are in my way. I do think a few of these maps will change, or a couple of these maps will change. I think Monday they're going to pull the slight risk down to Kentucky as well, the northern portions of Kentucky. I could very easily see them doing that if model data continues the same way it's going. And again, I'll show you that model data here in just a moment. And then here's for Tuesday, and I do think they're actually going to expand this back out to the west. Originally, this covered most of Kentucky, and then they kind of shifted that out here to the east. Model data today, however, has pointed to the fact that this is still going to be a majority of Kentucky event. So I think what we'll see over the next couple days here is that the Storm Prediction Center is going to actually pull this back out to where they originally had it. I'm really not quite sure why they moved it that much, with it being 4 days out. I never saw the reasoning for it, but I do think they'll pull it back again, given the model data that we've seen throughout today and throughout really the last 24 hours. So this is the model data here. Let's go and take a look at what we got going on here. So again, we have storm chances everywhere from Sunday to Monday to Tuesday. Sunday, not really seeing a whole lot. There might be a couple supercells that impact northern Kentucky. We'll show you those. Monday is probably the most questionable day of the three. And we'll break that down on why that is. Tuesday is the most for sure day on severe weather. Locations might be changing here and there. However, confidence is pretty high that at least for a good chunk of Kentucky, if not for a majority of Kentucky, that Tuesday could be a quite severe day for the state. So let's go ahead and look at the HRRR model here. I'm going to pull this back out to the 18Z run, and we're going to zoom into the local view, just kind of show you those storms that are showing up right now on model data. It's right here. Again, not a whole lot, guys. It's going to fizzle on out of there. May drop a few pockets of some small hail, and I see all of your questions. I'll get to them in just a moment. I'm going to get through the actual data real quickly, so if you could just hold your questions for me, I promise you I'll get to them. So let's go ahead and push this on forward here. Again, not really seeing any major threats tonight. At most, one of the storms might go severe, and it might be borderline at the absolute most. So again, not seeing a whole lot for impactful systems in tonight's fashion. Sunday morning, around that morning commute, going to church, there could be a few rain showers, thunder showers ongoing from Lexington to points north. These might carry some small hail with it as well, but because these are coming so early in the morning, we're not really seeing a massive severe threat with them. And then they kind of clear out of the way here by midday Sunday. And then you have one little supercell that wants to, it's a part of, I'll actually zoom this out for you real quickly so you can kind of see it. It's a part of a long line of storms here. And sometimes at the end of those lines of storms, you get what's called a tail end Charlie. And basically what that is at the bottom line of a storm, the last cell can latch on to a lot of the energy and create some issues. And now where that's going to exactly set up, we don't know, but model data has been really consistent with that entering the very far northern portions of Kentucky and then kind of just scooting out of here and getting weak. So again, Sunday, not seeing a whole lot except for that one potential supercell. And now that one potential supercell could cause issues of hail up to 2 inches in diameter. Not really seeing anything tornadic with it, but hail threat could be high with that one supercell. Again, not seeing a whole lot, and that's probably only going to affect maybe 2 counties in Kentucky, so we're not going to give that a ton of attention. Now, Monday is where things start to get a little bit different, and the reason for that is I want to kind of just pull this out and show you. I showed this yesterday, and I'll show it again here. Not much, by the way, if you were in here last night, not much has changed. We're still kind of along the same general consensus on things here. But what I want to show you is the 500 millibar chart. Now, this is going to look absolutely ridiculous, I know. But typically on this, just to give you a real quick breakdown, typically on this, what you see are 2 distinct lines. So one to the north and one to the south. So basically something kind of like this, where we have one distinct line here to the south, one distinct line here to the north. However, they usually go more just west to east. They're not usually up and down vertically like this and vertically like this as well, slanted. So that tells us something is in the works here. Also to note here with you, this is the northerly jet stream and this is the southerly jet stream. Usually they stay apart. When they start becoming close together, what happens is this one gets stronger right up here to the north, and that strength actually pushes the southern jet stream down and creates a lifting of the jet stream to occur. Now, that all sounds absolutely ridiculous. However, what that basically means, storms are going to be able to lift, and that is a big mechanism to identify when you're talking about strong to severe weather. So, 500 millibar chart, it looks absolutely wild for Monday to Tuesday, but let's focus right on Monday for a moment here, and then we'll get to Tuesday, which is the big day to really look at. Monday has been catching my eye because realistically, it's the day that there's the most storm energy. Now, that doesn't mean it's the most robust day. It's just the day that has the most storm energy, but it's also the day that has the biggest cap in place. So on Tuesday, the biggest concern for me, and I'll show it to you, but on Tuesday, the biggest concern for me is that there's absolutely no cap in place whatsoever. So usually when we're dealing with storm activity in Kentucky, we always have to deal with some sort of cap, or AKA called convective inhibition. Basically, that helps to stop storms from even forming. On Tuesday, there's virtually zero cap in place. So that's why Tuesday is the most concerning day. On Monday, there is a cap in place, but it also has the most amount of energy. So Monday's going to be tricky. Monday's going to be really tricky. Let me go ahead and push this on forward here. So this is Monday here for you. And what I want to show you is that Monday morning, nothing too crazy. Late Monday morning, going to Monday afternoon, a shortwave wants to push through here. And a shortwave is basically just a piece of energy. And it will clip. It may clip. I want to rephrase that. It may clip the northern portion of Kentucky. Let me go ahead and zoom this in a little bit better here so you can get a better idea. And I'm sorry if some of this is confusing. This is quite a complex setup, so trying to describe all of this is absolutely wild. I mean, I've got sheets of paper here where we've just been writing stuff all day, multiple sheets here. It's been a whirlwind of trying to understand this system, and I think we have a good handle on it. But trying to describe it might get a little bit lost in translation sometimes. But just know we got your back. So Monday here, not a ton going on, but you'll feel a big difference. What I'm actually going to show you is the difference in dew points. So right now, dew points are kind of in the lower 50s, upper 40s for most places in Kentucky. It feels nice and comfortable outside. It was warm today, but it wasn't humid at all. As we go into Monday, you'll see a difference even at 7 a.m. on Monday. Dew points in the low to mid 60s, basically around I-65 to points east, or I'm sorry, to points west. That is extremely humid. Right? And then as we go deeper into Monday and go toward Tuesday, they stay in the mid to upper 60s, which is kind of like the dew points that we see in July. Just to put that in a little perspective for you. End of June, early July, these are the kind of dew points that we see for that time frame. So to have that in April, it kind of heightens our senses a little bit because the biggest thing, or one of the biggest things, we named it last night, but in order for storms to work anywhere, especially in Kentucky, what we need is wind shear that's going different directions. What we need is moisture that is rich, and we have that, and we have the wind shear. And what we need is surface energy, and we have that because the temperatures are going to be so high, right? 70s, it doesn't sound high, but that's plenty for storm fuel. And what you need is some sort of lift mechanism, which is what we just showed you on that last screen. So that's why the senses are kind of heightened. But what I'm going to show you real quickly is Monday, then we'll get into Tuesday here. So I'm kind of getting sidetracked, going off on tangents here. Monday, you can see it's kind of spotty in nature. It's really kind of spotty in nature. There's not a ton to be concerned with on Monday. However, if a thin line of storms gets to going, kind of like what this North American model is showing here, it can get going real fast. And the reason for that, once again, is those dew points are high, temperatures are kind of higher, we have enough surface energy and whatnot to worry about, and all those metrics are there. Monday, though, again, I'm going to show you here, is going to feature quite a strong cap, and this is measured right here by this what we call surface-based SIN, or convective inhibition, basically once again stopping storms. What I want to show you is just a comparison of Monday and Tuesday. So this is Monday. You can see these purple and red numbers, or red colors, are a really strong cap. Yellow, it's kind of moderate. Blue, kind of weak, and of course where nothing is, there's no cap. right? You can see Kentucky is pretty much covered in a pretty strong cap. Eventually, that cap goes away by Monday afternoon to Monday evening, but still situates itself in southwestern Kentucky. So, again, that's why Monday is kind of conditional. If that cap can get out of the way and storms can go, there's going to be plenty of storm energy for them to go with. So that's why Monday is kind of an alert day for us right now. And we're not going to drop that, even though we talked about that a little bit. We're not going to drop Monday off just because, again, there is some signatures of storms occurring. There's just a stronger cap in place. But when we look at this cap and we look at Tuesday, so this is Tuesday, you see the problem. There's virtually no cap in place for Tuesday, which means storms should have almost zero issue going. And I say almost because when I go over here, and now we're going to transition to Tuesday. When I go over here and we look at kind of how the moisture is working above our heads, this is important. And I know this is kind of like, why is he explaining all this? I want people to understand how these things work because it makes it easier for them to determine whether they're in a safe space when they're looking at maps and stuff and trying to read what forecasters are saying. So this is Tuesday, and these big brown colors here are dry slots. Basically, they're going to help to try and prevent storms from coming in. However, just to the east or to the right of that dry slot, if moisture gets rich of it, right? If moisture gets rich, we start seeing these greens and blues show up. The storms can really thrive because, how am I going to say this? So, think about it like this. Either have a bathtub of water or you have a big, giant Olympic swimming pool of water. So, like, closer to this dry line here, it would be just a bathtub of water. There's not really a whole lot of moisture for it to work with. But because of that, it throws all the moisture over into that big Olympic pool of water to its right. And that's why you have these kind of setups here where you're talking about storms being able to have a lot of moisture to work with because of that dry slot that's right behind it. It's forcing all the moisture in front of it, letting those storms get richer and richer and richer. All right, so what I want to do now is kind of zoom this into the local view here and show you this on kind of like a radar looking screen for you. So I'm going to put this on forward to Tuesday here. So there might be two separate time frames on Tuesday. I want to mention this as well. There might be two separate time frames on Tuesday as well to worry about. Tuesday morning and again Tuesday evening. The Tuesday morning one is quite conditional. What that means is if the low pressure gets over to us in time, it might interact with some of the storm juice that we talked about and create a first round of storms and then a break and then a second round of storms. I will tell you that only a couple of the models show that. A couple of the other models show no first round and a stronger second round. So it's that part's kind of 50-50, which is why we've not made any real forecast post or graphics for Tuesday because there has been quite a bit of model discrepancy. We do know severe weather will happen on Tuesday. We don't know the finer details just yet, whether there'll be 2 rounds, whether there'll be 1 big round, whether there'll be a couple of weaker rounds. It's kind of back and forth at this moment. However, this model is showing us, and while this doesn't look quite crazy, if I were to click on this, this just looks like rain. When I click on the sounding, I don't want anyone to freak out. But it's going to show you basically a tornado threat for Tuesday morning. It shows you right here, although we don't really pay attention to that. That's just kind of an AI output. We don't pay attention to that. But what I want to show you here is just the different metrics that are lighting up. So we have Cape there. We're looking over here at this left box. We have Cape there. We have plenty of shear right here where I have my cursor at, 56. That's plenty to work with. We have plenty of storm relative helicity to work with. I know all these numbers don't really matter to you guys, but I just want to show you that just because this looks like rain, it's not. This is probably a strong storm line, if not a severe storm line on Tuesday morning, mainly north of the parkways going toward Lexington, Elizabethtown, Louisville, and then out toward northeastern Kentucky. It's kind of what it's looking like right now for Tuesday morning if a line starts on Tuesday morning. And then we have that break push through, and then the actual main line here. So the trickiest part about this, the trickiest part about Tuesday, is where exactly that dry slot that we just showed you, where exactly that sets up. Because if that's a little bit more east, let's say around I-65 in E-Town and Bowling Green, well, that makes Somerset, Lexington, and Pikeville a little bit more worrisome, right? But if it's a little bit more west around Evansville and Paducah, where it's currently projected at, well, then it makes the I-65 line a little bit more worrisome, like Louisville, Elizabethtown, and Bowling Green. What I want to show you is how that works. So you see right now, remember, at this time on the other image that I showed you, that dry slot was there, which is why most of Kentucky is dry, and Indiana and Ohio is getting storm activity. As I push this on forward here, one click, you'll see that dry line went away, And now it's worrisome for Somerset to Huntington to Mount Olivet and eastern Kentucky, back down towards Scottsville and those areas down toward the Tennessee-Kentucky border. So that's why we haven't really made any real specific forecast just yet, because we have to determine where exactly that dry line is going to set up. We have to determine exactly what the surface energy looks like and how those are going to interact with each other. I can tell you right now, after all the things that I've seen, I'm actually going to show you one other model as well. And this one probably has the best idea, in my opinion. So I'm going to go through this real fast since I've already broken down everything for you guys. I'm going to just go through this real fast with this European model. And I think this has the best idea, in my opinion, on the whole entire setup. So this is tonight. Again, nothing to worry about tonight. So for those of you that might be asking about the storms that you're hearing right now in northern Kentucky and north central Kentucky, we expect those just to be regular thunder showers. We don't expect any real severe weather with them. As you can see by your radar here, we're not really seeing any type of severe warnings, and we don't expect them to be severe warned at all as they dip in. So Saturday, nothing to really worry about. Maybe some thunder showers to hear. Right, as we go into Sunday, not a ton going on. Sunday morning, more thunder showers probably for the Lexington area and points north. Maybe a stray shower or two down here toward the Elizabethtown areas. But again, nothing to really worry about. That's coming at Sunday at around 6 to 9 a.m. So that's usually our most safest time. So we don't really have a ton to worry about at that point. So Sunday morning, nothing too crazy there. Sunday afternoon to Sunday evening toward the Cincinnati areas and very, very, very far northern Kentucky, there might be one or two strong storms to push through there Sunday evening. Other than that, the rest of Kentucky, so for the other 118 counties in Kentucky, nothing really happening for Sunday. So as we push us forward to Monday, you'll see mostly clear, maybe some rain showers ongoing Monday afternoon to Monday evening, or Monday morning to Monday afternoon, I should say. And then it's kind of out of here. Maybe a couple strong cells or two, again, for north of the parkways like we talked about. So far, a good agreement between this model and the last model that we showed. Where it gets a little bit different is Tuesday. So as we push us forward to Tuesday, remember, on Tuesday on the other model, it showed a little line of storms. On this model, it has storms here, right? On Tuesday morning, we can see that in the top left corner. It says Tuesday, 4 a.m. Central Time, so it's 5 a.m. Eastern Time. Has a line of storms pretty much lining Kentucky, maybe entering northern Kentucky. Now, this will be a pretty strong line of storms, but this wouldn't be the strongest line. So again, maybe a marginal severe threat with these storms that are entering the northern portions of Kentucky and far western portions of Kentucky Tuesday morning. And then it kind of just dissipates and gets out of here. But watch this little L out here to your left. This is the low pressure. This is the reason for our storms. It's actually going to get stronger as it heads toward southern and central Indiana. You can't see because it's cut off your screen here. But that's going to actually ignite storms to occur Tuesday afternoon. So this is what I was talking to you about. So this is a little bit of the difference between the last model that we showed and this model that we showed. Remember, the last model was a round of storms between around 4 to 7 a.m. Tuesday morning, and then another round of storms between about 5 to 9 p.m. Tuesday evening. This one really has one big line, or one big group of storms. It has a few storms Tuesday morning, but nothing really too crazy. Tuesday afternoon, or basically from 1 to 6 p.m., that's where it really has the main bulk of storms. And also want to show you real quickly, when we look at this, I just completely clear that off. When we look at this, and I click on the 72 hours, we're going to compare. So we're going to look at that model that I just showed you and this model together. So this was Tuesday at 1 p.m. on the other model. Not a whole lot there, right? This is Tuesday at 1 p.m. on the GFS model. Not a whole lot there. This is Tuesday at 1 p.m. on the model I think is handling this best. And there's quite a strong line of storms here. Now, this looks like just regular rain showers. But again, when we click on the sounding here, and we kind of just dive into the deeper portion of the data, don't look at this over here. Again, this is an AI-generated term. Don't look at that. What we're looking at over here is all the numbers that are highlighted. So supercell is highlighted, significant tornado parameter is highlighted, the significant hail index parameter is highlighted. So those numbers are highlighted, right? Which means this is probably quite the severe line. Right, there's definitely way more analysis into it than that, but just very generally speaking, this European model has a really strong line of storms pushing through Tuesday afternoon. So that's kind of the discrepancies, which is why we've kind of stayed away from making a forecast just yet for Tuesday, because there are still quite a few discrepancies. Then it just gets stronger and stronger, heads out to eastern Kentucky where it impacts eastern Kentucky. So this model wants to impact anywhere from Hopkinsville to Breckinridge County, all to the east of Kentucky. So basically from Hopkinsville to Breckinridge County, this line right here where my cursor's going, And then the rest of Eastern Kentucky, it just absolutely slams it. It just slams it with windy storms, with perhaps a few tornadoes embedded in with those, and large hail as well. So this is why Tuesday is by far, to us and to a lot of folks, the most concerning day, despite Monday also being stormy and maybe Sunday for a few counties in Kentucky. So lots of stuff there. Lots of stuff there. Oh, Caitlin, thank you for the 200 stars. I appreciate that. She says, everyone encourage your family and friends to follow WNK, like, and share the live. I appreciate that. Thank you so much for your help there. I know you guys are going to have a lot of questions, and respectfully, I want to answer them. But when it comes to specifics on Tuesday, we're going to stay away from answering those just because what I just showed you. There's too many discrepancies to really give a specific answer and have 100% faith in it. Alicia, we'll have plenty of updates out there for you. So again, for Sunday and Monday in Hardin County, we're not really expecting a ton. Monday evening, there could be a small line of storms. We'll have to keep an eye on those. But mainly the main day is Tuesday. The main day is Tuesday, guys. And I will have a written post. So hopefully, if you didn't really understand all that gibberish I just said, hopefully the written post that's going to be pushed out here in a little bit, hopefully that makes a little bit more sense. Will you put an updated map? Oh, absolutely, Jacqueline. I expect that by tomorrow morning, we'll be able to actually put out forecast maps and forecast details more specifically for Tuesday. The reason we haven't done it just yet is, once again, even the two models I showed you disagreed on what exactly is going to set up. And, you know, I have a feeling of what's going to happen, but a feeling versus actually having evidence is two different things. Ashley with the 200 stars, thank you so much. Caitlin asked, do you believe this will be a tornado outbreak in Kentucky? Well, Caitlin, I don't like to say something like that without having concrete evidence of it, because that's a really scary term to use for a lot of folks. So I'm going to stay away from saying yes or no to that, but just say the odds are 50-50. Missy, thank you for the 20 stars. I appreciate that. So what's your feeling, Tony? As a person who loves science, I don't really like to say my feelings without having evidence. I will just say that I think Sunday, mainly clear. I think we might have a couple cells up toward the Cincinnati portions of Ohio going toward northern Kentucky. There might be a couple cells that impact that area. Monday, I do think a line of storms gets going on Monday evening for somewhere in Kentucky. Where that is right now, it's yet to be seen. I do think a line of storms at some point gets going on Monday, but again, we're identifying that probably is impossible at this point. On Tuesday, I do think it's going to get quite severe. And I do think there will be a few tornadoes with a couple to be probably pretty strong. And that's not to scare anyone. That's just what I'm seeing over the last 36 to 48 hours since we've been tracking this. Well, we've been tracking this longer than that, but the data over the last 36 to 48 hours, what I'm seeing and what I've been learning over the last 7 to 8 years here, it's telling me that this is a severe setup for Kentucky. Now, where exactly that sets up is not embedded yet. It's not in stone yet. Some models have the strongest storms over the I-65 corridor, basically from Louisville to Bowling Green to around Lexington and Somerset. Some models have it east of that, from Lexington to Somerset to Pikeville areas. Some models have it to the west of that. So trying to identify where exactly the strongest and the most vulnerable areas are right now are impossible. But I do think that Tuesday will be a day to remember for some folks. And I don't say that lightly. I do hope that this trends down, because everything that I'm seeing now is quite concerning to me and everything that I've learned. But that said, there is a lot of time for this thing to change. And it's already changed a little bit over the last 12 to 14 hours. Now, it hasn't changed a ton to where it's eased our concerns here behind the desk. But there's still a lot of time for this to change. So I don't want anyone to freak out at all. Alicia with the 50 stars, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Caitlin with another 20, thank you so much. Lisa with 50, thank you. Misty with 20. Chris with 99, thank you so much. We're almost achieving the star party, or activated stars party, I guess. I don't really know what all that is. I'm kind of ignorant on the whole star party thing. Caitlin, no worries, thank you. Tiffany, again, like I said a couple times here, trying to identify exactly where that threat is going to set up Tiffany on Tuesday. not the best idea at the moment because there's so many model discrepancies. So that's why we have kind of refrained from answering exactly where exactly it's going to set up. It's not because we don't want to answer it. It's because truthfully, no one really knows yet. We have a good idea that I will tell you at this time for me, Lexington to Somerset to Bowling Green to Elizabethtown, that little square right there that you're seeing on your screen. Lexington to Somerset to Bowling Green to Elizabethtown, that little square right there that you're seeing on your screen, probably the most vulnerable area. I'm not going to put that out there 100% just yet, but if you're asking me my gut feeling right now, that's the area, according to the model data, that I'm seeing at this current time. That little square from Lexington to Somerset to Bowling Green to Elizabethtown, that's the area of the most concern. Now, that could very, 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 very easily move over the next 48 hours, so that's why we're kind of refraining from answering too much. Thank you for understanding. I appreciate that. You don't want to freak anyone out. You failed, brother. I'm pretty freaked out. Andrew, I can't really control your emotions. I wish I could, but I'm just giving you guys the facts as I see them, trying to do it in the most responsible way possible. Yeah, that macro burst was pretty wicked out there. But talking about the one a few weeks ago, Lisa? Yeah, Shane, I would agree with you on that. However, if you know what you're kind of talking about a little bit here, the bulk Richardson number is way too high for these cells to be discrete. Too close, too wide of a warm sector, too wide. It might actually be close to the triple point, depending upon how some models are showing. I don't think we're looking at a squall line or discrete. I think we're actually looking at potentially long-lived supercells. And the phase will occur. The phase of the two jet streams will occur, but it won't happen until it actually exits Kentucky. And that's actually going to bring us a brief wintry precipitation threat on Thursday, a rain to snow, maybe sleet threat on Thursday. Now, again, it's not going to stick, but it just kind of shows you how strong these systems are here. The one last unit. Oh, okay, got you, Lisa. I think we're looking at more of a supercellular, and the reason for that is because most of the energy. So what we've had so far this year is more linear storms, like Adam's pointing out. For this storm system, I think it'll be closer to the ground, which is why we're looking at more of a supercellular versus a linear line of storms. What is long-lived supercells? Basically, supercells that are together for quite a while, over I think it's a span of 45 miles or greater, and can produce. And supercells, by the way, guys, I know everyone's hear supercells, they automatically think tornadoes. Supercells can produce strong winds and hail as well, not just tornadoes. So when you hear supercells, don't necessarily think the absolute worst. Now, they are the strongest form of storms to some, but now they can produce more than just tornadoes. They don't have to just produce tornadoes. But long-lived supercells, basically, they're the type of supercells that are together and they stay organized and they stay recognizing the energy that's at play for quite some time. And I do think that's probably going to be the case. Once again, like if I click on this right here, if I click on the sounding, I go back. And now this is when the line actually initiates. This is not when the line actually really gets going. This is just when it really starts. If you look at this number right here called BRN shear, that is the bulk Richardson number. Basically, it kind of just tells us a little bit about how long a supercell might live. Now, when that number is over 100, or pretty much over 80, but really when it gets over 100, that's when you're talking about more of your, perhaps your long-lived supercells. Also, to go along with evidencing that, the shear from surface to 6 kilometers is over 60. The storm relative velocity is over 245 at surface to 1. And then surface to 3, it's almost 300. Right, so that's why I don't think we're totally talking about discrete supercells. You're also looking at directional wind shear. For some, I know we're kind of getting into scientific stuff here. But there's some people that are asking about it. So when you're also looking at the sounding here, what you see are wind profiles that are going two different directions. You have one that's initially starting one direction, and as it goes up into the atmosphere, it's turning. So I think we're talking about directional wind shear, which is typically how we get our more severe and surface-based storms here in Kentucky. As so far this year, what we've seen is actually unidirectional wind shear, which is basically wind shear that's going in one direction versus multiple directions, which is why I think we're talking about a different storm mode than what we've seen so far this year. Ashley, I don't think so. Solar eclipse does not have anything to do with the weather. No, that's a good question. Shauna, thank you for the 50 stars. I appreciate that. Alicia, thank you for your 50 stars. I appreciate you as well. All right, I think we're getting into some more of the repetitive stuff here. So I probably already answered a lot of your questions. So I'm going to hop off here, look at the new model data that's coming in. I'm actually going to work on a written post for you guys. I hope to have it out within the next hour. So if a lot of what my jumbo mumbo that I just said didn't make sense to you too much, I will have a written post out for you guys to go through. Also, if you're just now tuning in, this video will be available on both our YouTube and Facebook for you to watch at your convenience. I appreciate everyone coming in. I appreciate all of your questions. Hopefully, I taught y'all something tonight, and hopefully, we're going to get through this, guys. I mean, even if this is absolute worst case scenario, I don't think we're looking at some type of historic outbreak here. So for those of you that are like really asking if this is like 2021 or 2012 or 1974, I don't think we're looking at that. But I do think this could have, impacts of its own. So with that said, I'm going to sign off here. I'm Chief Forecaster George Herbig with you for W&K. Until next time, stay safe, Kentucky.